So this past weekend, the Cowboys beat the Rams 44-21. But the final score, I think, is a little lopsided. The Rams scored a couple late to make it closer. But the Cowboys really kicked their ass. I didn't see it coming. This is the first Cowboys win in a month.
A month?
Not just versus a team with a winning record or in the playoffs. This is their first win in a month.
Rip.
So kind of shows how that team is trending. And it's just sad to see that a team with the top paid offensive line in the NFL, you have a running back making $90 million total, his guaranteed contract. You have a top 5, in my opinion, wide receiver, Amari Cooper. Dak Prescott, you have a loaded defense. And it's just, you can't get a win in a month.
It's pretty bad.
Jason Garrett looked like Kyle Shanahan this weekend, by the way.
What really stood out to me with the Cowboys this past week was their ability to run the ball. And that's kind of the Cowboys that we've known forever, the O-line and Zeke and pounding the ball. The Cowboys had the ball for 36 minutes and 6 seconds this past weekend.
Wow.
That's a big success. That's going to be a recipe for success when you have the ball that long. You can control it with your $90 million running back, and you don't have to make Dak Prescott throw the ball to receivers who are often injured sometimes. But that's the bread and butter for the Cowboys, in my opinion. And the more they lean on that ground game, Tony, I know you were saying something about Tony Pollard. What were you saying? He had
Tony Pollard had 12 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown.
That's the backup running back.
That's the second string running back
against. And I don't have what the Rams run defense rank was, but I'm pretty sure it was.
It's like
actually, the Rams ranked third against the run when it comes to DVOA. DVOA is we could just call it DVOA if you want, instead of saying DVOA, but it's a defense adjusted value over average, and it's basically the ranking of how many yards they're allowing, but it's based on strength of schedule, and all fumbles are weighted equally. So it's like if you lost it or you won the fumble, or if you lost the fumble, if you lost possession, or if you retained possession, it has no effect on the ranking.
Okay, so that's even more surprising to see the Rams get just gashed like that.
So third.
So what did you think about him, Michael?
Well, the thing that really stood out to me was that they dominated them, and they didn't get Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup involved at all. Nope. They combined for 2 catches for 25 yards, which is insane.
Do you know how to do touchdown, though? Tavon Austin.
Former Ram.
They ran into each other, too, which was crazy. So,
but I don't know about you guys, but, the Cowboys play the Eagles this weekend. It's in Philadelphia. This is for the division. This is a huge game. Obviously must win. Even if the Cowboys do win, I don't have any confidence in them going forward. This is your first. They're still 0-5 against teams that are currently seated in the playoffs.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I know the Rams were a team over 500.
First team they beat over 500.
0-5 versus playoff teams, to me, is just not.
It's pretty bad.
It's just a lack of consistency, lack of discipline. Starts with the coaches, really, and that's something a good friend of mine has told me. The importance of coaching. Now,
you want to say anything on Cowboys Rams?
Who told you that?
I didn't get to watch the game. I was at work, so I really can't touch on this. But the Cowboys have been abysmal, and I was actually shocked by looking at this score, especially since they haven't beaten a team above 500 this year up until then. So I'm sorry, Tony. That must have been pretty bad to watch.
Let me go on my little rant real quick.
All right, go on your rant.
I watched pretty much the whole game. We couldn't tackle a peewee kid. Like kid playing peewee. I'm not kidding. Every time we try to tackle one of the running backs, we just go for the ball. There was no wrapping up. There was nothing. Zeke had 24 carries for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pollard had 12 carries for 131 yards and 1 touchdown. Our rushing totals, the Rams had 22 total rushing yards.
That's
the
crazy.
Cowboys, 263.
I remember you were saying something about yards after contact.
Another thing. Pollard and Zeke each had 70 yards after contact. Each.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I kept seeing Clay
Awful
Matthews
tackle.
at least 2 times just got lazy and was just trying
Couldn't
to strip
tackle
the
to save a
ball.
life. Another thing, our offense, dude. I don't even know where to start on our offense.
Dude, where's McVay's
Goff looks
headband?
lazy. He does not care. He literally looks like he doesn't even want to be there. He says he has a thumb injury. Jameis Winston played with a fractured thumb and threw what? 400
458.
4 touchdowns and an interception,
touchdowns and
right?
a pick.
And those
What did
throws
Goff
were
do?
Beautiful.
Nothing. Cowboys again, 0 wins against the teams above 500. Whooped us. Whooped
Actually,
us.
Dak Prescott has a fractured index finger, I think. He played that.
Dak went 15 of 23, 212, and 2 touchdowns. Goff threw the ball 51 times and had 284, 2 touchdowns, and one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I honestly have no confidence going through the rest of this year. We play the 49ers coming up. That's not a good game.
That's a loss.
And
Only way the
49ers would be
Rams,
pissed.
only way we can make the playoffs is we have to win out, and the Vikings have to lose out, and that's not going to happen. So, I've basically lost all confidence in us this year.
It's crazy to see the turnaround. I mean, last year everyone was saying, McVay's the new stud in the NFL for. Not saying he's not, but
It's Kyle Shanahan.
I mean, the Rams last year were just beating everybody. They were
different team.
insane. And then
We're a
this year
completely
you
different
lose Roger Saffold. And that's I
Lost,
think
Saffold, John Sullivan was another big one, our center. We didn't even pay him. He just walked. I don't even think he's on a team. I don't know where he even is right now.
the importance of the offensive line and the importance of an identity.
Yep.
And with that, I don't know if you guys have anything else to talk about. We can segue.
No, I'd say they do have an identity, and it's off play action, obviously.
Which
But-
we never do anymore.
And
Because
they
you don't
can't
even run
stick
the
to
ball.
Because you can't run the ball. That's
Yeah,
why.
it doesn't
And
make sense.
Teams have figured out the Rams, and McVay has not adjusted
He
since
hasn't.
last year.
Come on,
And
McVay.
he deserves a lot of the blame. I'm sorry, but he does.
He does, but I mean, I'm also going to blame Goff a lot. Goff deserves so much of the blame, dude. Watching Goff last year and watching Goff this year is night and day. He looks so lazy. I'm not kidding. He has like Jay Cutler composure. He literally just goes to the game and just like goes through the motions. That's it. Nothing. There's no excitement anymore. Gurley's done. I've given up on Gurley.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just hurt or if he's just, I don't know what it is. No one's saying
Arthritis.
anything. No one's giving us any confirmation on him. Nothing. So, I mean,
Yeah, well, Gurley's obviously hurt. The thing with Jared Goff that I've been so unimpressed with for years is just if it's not given to him, if it's not spoon fed to him, it's not going to happen.
Literally has to be on a silver
Yeah.
platter.
If there's any resemblance of pressure coming, he is going to
he
cower
folds.
down and fall down like a little kid.
he folds.
I mean, say what you want about a guy like Baker Mayfield, for instance, who's had his share of mostly downs. But you see this guy who's looked like a $190 soaking wet and takes a lick, gets killed, and will still deliver the pass. And that's what you have to do in the NFL. And Jared Goff is just a little LA boy, and sorry. But
Soft.
He's
very
soft.
He's soft.
Another thing about you were just comparing him to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's much better at moving around, and Jared Goff just kind of sits in the pocket, can't sense pressure as
He's
well as
awful.
He
most
crumbles under
quarterbacks.
pressure.
It's awful, dude. But yeah, that's where I am with the Rams. I've given up on our season already. I've already thrown it away. I'm moving on to next year, which sucks because we paid all these players and we aren't going to be able to move any of them. Like, Gurley's not going anywhere. We're stuck with his contract. We're stuck with Goff's contract. The only person I think we could possibly move is Brandon Cooks, and we're not going to get anything in return.
Anything for value. You just get him off the books if you can.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for the Rams.
So nobody here thinks the Cowboys are turning any type of corner here
No,
coming into the playoffs.
I don't think so.
I mean, I
Same
think they have
with
the
Cowboys.
roster, too. They just don't have the coach.
I think the biggest key for them is Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch have not been what they were last year. They've been missing tackles. They've been blowing coverages. It's been pretty poor to
Sean
watch.
Lee's a
Pretty
shell of
disappointing.
himself. I mean, he had his first interception this past weekend in 2 years.
Wow.
Not that he's a
He's
ball
also
hog.
missed quite a few tackles that I've seen as well.
I love that the Cowboys are underperforming. It's so great being a Redskins fan.
I just don't see them picking it up. I mean, it was a great home win. I'm sure everyone's real excited in Dallas, but I don't know. I just really don't see them making any kind of
just
noise in the NFC, where even the wild cards, you have a team like the 49ers, who are the 5th seed in the NFC because of the Seahawks, which is crazy to me. But
Cowboys won't do anything in playoffs.
Going back to McVay, like what I was really frustrated with in the last game against the Cowboys was like the amount of second and longs that they decided to run the ball on, and you're losing too, and you're setting yourself up with like 3rd and 10. Like say I think one time it was like 2nd and 15. They decided to run the ball. They ended up with like 3rd and 13. So that was extremely frustrating.
As a fan of the Rams, dude, I just don't know where we go from here, honestly. Like, we're stuck with a lot of bad contracts, and
No first rounders.
no,
for
we
a
don't
while.
have a first rounder for 2
no
years.
draft capital like that.
We
yeah.
still have to pay Jalen Ramsey, and we have John Johnson coming up, and we have Cooper Kupp coming up. Like, I mean, all of our we're losing money every second, and we
The
can't get rid of
defense,
any of it.
the defense has gotten a lot better since
It has.
Ramsey came.
Much better.
Like,
The
much
Rams
better.
defense is, I
pretty
mean, this
solid.
past weekend, obviously.
But where has that gotten them? You know,
Nothing.
it's like
Because at the end of the day, you have a quarterback who's not going to take those shots, and he can't lead your team to that win. He's going to need McVay to draw it up in his little magical notebook, and it's just not happening this year. Sorry, Tony.
No, I've accepted.
the
it.
deep ball's gone.
Welcome to the club. I've given up too.
I've accepted.
A long time ago.
There's no more deep ball
No,
for Jared Goff or in the offense.
there's nothing. Dude.
Yeah,
Our
so-
offense looks dry. It looks. There's nothing. There's nothing going for us right now.